Gruesome Magazine.
Hello once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and we'll take a look at very spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing Dark Harvest, which will be in Alamo Theaters on October 11th and VOD on Friday the 13th. Woohoo! What we're going to do is I'm going to introduce my crew first. Let's do that. Also, joining me tonight, I'm just stepping all over myself. What is happening? I don't know. I think it might have been the pre-show. Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead here. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm fabulous. I'm about to go make the run.
Yes.
No, girls aren't allowed.
No,
it's a very sexist community.
Maybe
that's all I'm saying.
Maybe one. Yeah. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr.
Uh-oh. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, sorry. Fire.
I'm going to get you.
Oh, boy.
You're going to get us?
I'm going to get you. And I'm going to fill my tummy full of trick-or-treat.
Yeah,
candies. So you can tear me open and eat me. What?
Yeah.
Get into my belly. No, it's a different movie. All right. Rounding out the crew is the one and only, say it with me, Dave Dreher.
Not too bad this time. You guys are getting better. It's more in unison. I liked it.
After 10 years,
not bad. Not bad. A couple more years, we'll have it down.
Ah, yes.
Yep.
All right. What we're going to do is we're going to give you our first impression of Dark Harvest, and that will be spoiler-free. So don't worry if you haven't seen it. You can hear those first impressions. And then we'll get into a discussion. We will get into some spoilers, and spoilers there are. And then we'll wrap things up with a score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. And we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you do, please hit the like, subscribe, and share with a friend buttons.
Yes.
Every click is free, and every click helps us find more horror fans just like you.
Just like you.
And you. And you. And you.
Okay.
There's a lot of people out there. 5.
Yep.
All right, guys, thank you.
100.
100,000. All right, let's take a look at the card. And thank you, Chris. Dark Harvest from MGM, available digital beginning October 13th, 2023. The synopsis is: in a cursed town, the annual harvest becomes a brutal battle for survival. On Halloween 1963, Sawtooth Jack, the terrifying legend, rises from the cornfields, threatening the town's children. Groups of boys unite to defeat the murderous scarecrow before midnight. Richie, the rebellious outcast, joins the run, motivated by his brother's previous victory. As the hunt progresses, Richie makes a shocking discovery and faces a pivotal choice to break the relentless cycle. That's a pretty good synopsis.
Yeah.
Directed by David Slade, written by Michael Gillo, based on a novel by Norman Partridge, and the cast includes Casey Likes, Amiri, excuse me. I don't know where Emerald came from, but Amiri, Crutchfield, Dustin Scythammer. Oh my God. Elizabeth Reeser, Ezra Buzzington, Luke Kirby, and Jeremy Davies. It's a pretty interesting cast. That, I will say, is a not so promising poster, but we'll get into what is promising about this in just a moment as we get into our first impressions. Christopher G. Mohr, you're up first.
Well, I love me some David Slade. He directed 5 episodes of Hannibal. He directed an episode in the anthology Nightmare Cinema, which remember I got to interview him for Gruesome Magazine a few years ago. This film is very beautiful. I think if I could say right off the bat, the biggest strength of the movie is the cinematography. There's some really just beautiful things of just looking in cornfields and just like the debris or whatever blowing through the wind, or time lapse photography, and so he definitely has a great grasp in sort of telling a story in a very visual way.
Larry Smith is the cinematographer.
Oh, well, amazing job. But I will say I'm kind of divided on this film. I think it's very beautiful. I didn't feel connected to the characters. The characters felt kind of, it felt very like, it felt like every other sort of, what year was this? 50s or
the 60s?
It just felt like every other time period movie like these, where you just have these specific characters. And then when it got to I was kind of surprised it got to the thing as soon as it does when it comes to this run thing. But then it's like, I kept thinking, it's like, I shouldn't think of logic in movie terms in general, because most horror films, the logic you throw out the window in general. But I couldn't understand how this whole town would keep doing this stuff every year. I would not have children if I lived in this town. But yeah, I don't know. Something about I kind of wanted more background information in regards to the story. Because, granted, the way it plays out is kind of interesting. I got kind of mad towards the end because I felt like the main guy was an idiot. Because I think you'd be a little bit smarter if you know. Well, anyway, if the knowledge that he knows, he'd be a little bit smarter in how he goes about it. But I will say it's got some interesting moments. I think in the very beginning, I didn't like the creature. It felt very like gray, like a gray alien.
No, interesting. Okay,
but then as it went along and you got more close-ups and it became more interesting and creepy looking, it got more interesting for me. I don't know. It's a really effed up town this movie takes place in. But I don't know. It's an interesting story. It's definitely that sort of I want to say fairy tale, but it's like folklore type thing, the way it plays out. But I don't know. I think after I watched that, I didn't understand what I felt about it. And I still don't know how I truly feel about it. I like, there's good things about it and there's bad things about it. Although I will say towards the end, I just kept getting mad. I guess maybe because of my filmmaker brain, I thought it was going to play out differently. And it didn't. But anyway, I'm not sure if that's really an impression or me just my first confusion about my thoughts on the film.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're confused. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that works. That works. Crystal, you're up next. What was your first impression of Pet Sematary? No, not Pet Sematary.
Dark Harvest.
Dark Harvest. We already did Pet Sematary. Look for that. Look for that. That's the next one.
So, like I mentioned, this movie is absolutely gorgeous. Like, there were shots that I found completely breathtaking. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was someone standing in these fields, and the way it's backlit, and he's got a skeleton mask on, and the way it's lit from the front, these little, oh my God, I was like, take my breath away. Like, gorgeous. I really enjoyed this film. I understand that the story is odd and convoluted, and like, I get it. Christopher's like, why would they keep having kids? Well, they don't know. You heard that they don't know until their child wins. And after the win is when they find out. So only the people that have won actually know what's happening. So there's people in the town.
But then anyway, there's a lot of stuff that happens to kids that don't even win. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, this one.
Oh, you mean the death? Well, yeah, but that's going to happen, I guess, regardless. Like, so either they stay in this town, or they, like, I mean, then they have a chance to have a better life, I guess. It is odd.
year.
I mean, I'm not going to, it's odd,
Yeah.
but I would not want to be forced to be in that town. They also made the mention of you can't even take a vacation unless it gets approved and stuff. It's weird, but you just kind of have to like let that go. The set dressing is gorgeous. The town looks beautiful. I really enjoyed. I liked all the actors. I didn't have a single problem with any of them. I like the concept of the creature, and I agree with Christopher. At first, I was like, "Oh," but then as you see it more and more, and then as you see the creature actually like use some of their abilities, that was actually really cool. I really enjoyed it. It's it's odd and it's kind of weird, and I had some issues with it, but I was really entertained, and I was invested in the characters. I like the main dude a lot. I felt bad at points, so I did care apparently. So it worked for me. I get though why it wouldn't work for some, but it did work for me.
Very
I liked
good.
it.
Very good. Dave Dreher, sir, you're up next. What is your first impression of Dark Harvest?
I was a huge fan of the book when it came out, the Norman Partridge novel. It was really a great good. I think it came out in like 2007. It was the early 2000s, but always kind of read to me kind of more of like a young adult book. And I kind of got that same vibe from this movie. The same type of thing. I was texting Doc as I was watching it, and it's like it's got kind of a Goosebumps feel to it almost. But with David Slade, David Slade loves his gore, and
it does.
And we certainly got that, and it was awesome when it happened. But the gore really was kind of few and far between on this. Yeah, I ended up. I really enjoyed it a lot. I really did, but it was kind of weird and uneven. It just seemed they had a lot of. It was always beautiful, always pretty, but sometimes it almost seemed like the scenes were set up just to be pretty. They didn't really serve the story. And especially knowing the story, like I said, they didn't go into the whole October Boy thing and all that stuff, which was vital to the book. And there's not even a mention of it in this. So again, I think David Slade is a wonderful visual storyteller, but I think he kind of missed the mark on what this story is actually about. But I still really liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I'm torn, kind of like Christopher is, because I didn't really relate to the main character until after he teams up with the other character, which we'll get into in spoilers. And that's when I really started to like him. Before that, I actually had some trouble remembering who was the lead between him and this other character that looks a lot like him, and I was like, wait, who are we following? And but once we get past that and it starts focusing in, then I think it really draws on his strengths. But I was a little off put at first. There are some timeline things. Maybe you're like, where is who now, and why aren't they making a beeline? What's going on? Because basically, part of the plot, which is they are there to stop this creature from reaching the church before a certain time, and it's just not easy. But I'm not really sure this thing. Anyway, there's more for that for the spoilers. It is delightfully gory when it gets to the gore. It does not hold back when it goes gory. It's a gory, and you're gonna like it. It's so fun, and beautifully shot gore too. And some, I mean, it's minorly disturbing. A couple scenes. We'll get into that. And for me, it was kind of like, Goosebumps meets Pumpkinhead. It had a lot of Pumpkinhead feel to me, for a lot of different reasons. But
it's literally kind of like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it has a Pumpkinhead. But I mean the Pumpkinhead movie, Stan Winston's movie. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I didn't even think of it that way. But and I'm really surprised they're not marketing it more toward that creature, because it is a creature feature, and you're going to want to see this to see the creature, and the creature delivers. I mean, when the more we get to see him, the more you're going to like him. And even when he's in full view, the cinematography on it is so good. It keeps the mystery about it. It's not, it's not like a spotlight on it. It's not like you can't see it, but it still has a lot of shadows and depth to it, and makes it creepier, and it needs to be creepy because of, it's a supernatural creature, and we need to have that. So there's a lot to like about this. In the end, the telling is I want to see it again. So I guess I liked it. Right? Yep. If you want to see a movie again, is that saying you liked it?
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to start off something, because you said something earlier about, or somebody did, about all the kids dying. This particular year, there's a lot more deaths than there were in like because the pre-credits was the year before, and there was only one kid that died, or at least they were only shown one kid that died, and then they chased it and got it. But this year, a lot more than one. There's like they don't stop. It's like slaughterhouse. But let's talk about the lead. What did you think about Casey?
I already said I loved him. I thought he was great. I thought he was likable. I thought he was cute. I mean, he's written like an annoying teenager. I don't like teenagers. They're garbage to me. So like, he's written properly, because oh God, I just got to compete with my brother, and I've got to do the run. I'm just as good as my brother. Meh. Okay.
And why?
That's teenagers. So whatever.
And I think because he also wore like a gang jacket.
He was a greaser.
A greaser.
Yeah, but he was such a.
But he didn't make an effective greaser.
No, he was a pussy, is what he was.
What?
He's like,
because it was the 1950s or 60s or whatever.
Yeah, but if you're normally, when you do that, you could back it up,
And where was like the other ones
when the football players are?
But you understand, y'all aren't getting it. Like, he wasn't like that before his brother won.
That's true. He wasn't. Yeah.
Okay, he was trying to prove himself. It was very obvious, because
it takes more than just putting a jacket on to prove yourself.
Not to a teenager. Not to a teenager. Their brains aren't even fully developed, Christopher. Trust me. I've had two.
I'm not even sure they're parents.
They're damn dumb. Damn dumb. Okay, that is just a fact.
Oh, I can speak to that too.
Yeah.
Some adults are too. So just
but cheese and rice. Woof. Some of the stuff that they think
was. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, granted, I feel like it's this sort of microcosm town that all this shit happens in, and it's almost like a Twin Peaks or some of those weird towns where they're just kind of used to it. But I was like, if this happens every year where kids are just there's
it's
ancillary
only the seniors, right? It's only supposed to be the seniors.
Yeah, it's only the seniors.
Well, they do the run.
Where it's an ancillary damage.
And it's only the boys.
To people, I just don't know.
But you did see that in how is completely isolated too.
Yeah,
it is completely isolated.
It is its own. It's a whole weird feeling. I totally. When you say like the Twin Peaks, I think that's kind of.
It feels like a. But then at the same time, I almost thought I thought there was going to be some big twist where like they find out they're like inside a computer or something.
Or they're just the Krampus ending. They're in a snow globe in a cupboard.
Yeah. They're trapped. They're trapped inside this town.
Well, they do.
I don't know. I'd like to know, Dave. What is there extra knowledge in the book that kind of explains why they do this? Other than it stopping the thing. I mean, that there's a group of people that are like.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's so remote that they just don't know better. And they're just, they're taught that this is how it is. This is what happens. And, they just go about their life and that's what they do.
A lot of
it's not questioned.
Right? Yeah. A lot of
superstition. Yeah.
Because if they don't do it, if the thing reaches the church, then they're going to have bad crops and they're,
Yeah. And there's none of there's none of the greaser in the book. There's none of the greaser type thing. That's why I think with the film, they were just trying to kind of look cool. because, you know, there was a lot of like you said, the leather jackets, the Fonzie kind of look, and, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, it reminded me a lot of The Outsiders. You know, I was waiting for someone to be like, "Hang tough, Pony Boy," or whatever the fuck they say in that movie. You know, it's like, all right, I mean, it's like they're just kind of, you know, they're kind of making fun of that, of what we think of as that late 50s, early 60s mentality. Yeah, and that wasn't in the book. That's a liberty that the screenwriter must have taken. You know, and it looked great when they had those leather jackets with the skull mask and they're walking around with the cool blue light behind them. It looked fantastic. But
although they looked like each other when they put the mask
on.
Well, I wasn't sure who was
except for one, they looked like each other when they had the mask off.
Well, that's it confused me even more. Well, it confused me even more when they wore the mask. I was like,
but I mean, I think that was all purposeful. What? It was all just for the visual.
Well, I also kind of feel like that was a callback to, you know, the Karate Kid. Like, I saw a lot of Easter eggs in this film.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of these throughout. I think it's good. I think it's good. Wow. But I get why y'all don't like it. Like, I don't think it's kind of, and I
don't think it's that we don't like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I just felt it was not a true representation of the book. It's one of those ones that you watch the movie and you think, "Oh, I want to read the book," and you read the book and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Wow. Okay, I want to read the book now too. I really want to see like how that all goes, because I can imagine for sure.
I kind of well, I don't know. I just wish there had been some kind of thing other than this happens if you don't do it. I kind of wish we'd gotten a little more background on these weird Masons or whatever, these Freemasons or whatever these this group of people were.
Fathers, whatever the fuck they were. Yeah,
I'd love to know more based on like, how did they figure out what actually works? We're gonna like bury them right here. Oh wait, yeah, we're in spoilers. Okay, we're gonna bury him right here. Then we're gonna pull him up, and we're gonna put him up on this. It's not really technically a cross, but basically a cross, and put a pumpkin on top of them, and that's gonna melt to their head.
And fill him up with candy. You got to fill him up with candy.
Yeah, we get no backstory on like the Renfield character, the farmer, the guy that does the digging and the hanging and the filling and all that.
Ezra Buzzington, yeah. A great character actor though plays him, and those ears, you can, when he's in silhouette, the ears give it away who he is. He's a great character actor, Ezra Buzzington. He was confusing because he just kind of like shows up at the beginning and does his thing, and then we don't really get more of him until the end. But the way, one thing that now that I'm saying this, it reminds me, and then we need to talk about special effects. The one thing that got me is like the final like couple minutes promises a better movie.
Yeah.
Burn it down.
I was actually very mad.
Did you get mad at that?
I hated that ending. And then when that part happened, like, this is more interesting to me than this ending. Because I felt like the kid, he was the wussy he's just a big wussy. He wasn't doing anything. And then the girl, I felt like the girl could have done something, and that annoyed me.
So I have to completely agree with Christopher there. That girl was tough as nails throughout, and she had lit things on fire and done all this stuff, and then there at the nth hour, she didn't actually get out and help him.
She was kind of I kept
crying in the car.
And I'm like,
I thought she was going to be the one, instead of him getting hit over the back of the. I thought they were going to do something.
Well, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the filmmaker or the storytelling me. I just thought they were going to probably throw either the cop in there. I didn't know if it messes up the thing, but I don't know. I felt like, okay, we had this sort of tough as nails female character, and then we just have her just crying in the car,
I know,
not doing anything.
I
and I was
agree.
like,
that
was my biggest. But again,
that's true.
I guess not every character has to do certain things. I guess, but I don't know.
Sequel. We can have Revenge of Harvest.
Well, that to me that sounds an even better.
Sawtooth Jack return.
This, because I just kept getting mad at characters and just. Because it was like mass hysteria through parts of it with kids. Just
so
like being that hungry is gonna. But again, then maybe it's just the town that brings that out in them.
I
not
would have
be
told
eating
my
for 3
child
days.
the
Mob
truth.
rules.
I would have told them the
Mob rules.
truth. If he was trying so hard to run it, I would have told him the truth then.
Well,
Well,
mom,
that
I don't think the mom was stable enough to do that though.
well, that and I think if you
Yes,
know your
it was
if
a
you
little out
know
of it.
if you know your brother didn't escape it, you got to be ready for somebody's going to block the road, somebody's going to do something, and things like that. I just felt like this kid's stupid. He deserved to.
Well, that's why
be
he had
buried.
the gun. But that's why he had the gun. He went around and like, so he thought
But he didn't
did
even.
enough.
But at the same time, with everything that happened, I would have just shot the sheriff when he
Yeah.
showed up.
Mhm.
I know. I mean, why are you?
Yeah.
Why are you let? He just gave up. He just like, oh yeah. That just,
Honestly,
annoyed
I
me.
would have let the other dude kill him and win. The dude who's such a poopy head, and then like go and
Yeah.
hide
I
out
know,
there.
I know, really.
He
Right.
was just, the brotherly
Right.
love thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
It-
Oh, but at the
that
same
wasn't his
time, I
intention.
felt like he should have shouted out, like, "Hey, this is my brother." I think he should have shouted out to people, like, "Hey, this is what you're going to become."
Hello.
Yeah, like
things
how-
like that. I just there was moments.
I feel like the one kid got that. The blonde kid or whatever, the bad guy, the bad kid. The one that
Do
was
you
going
think
to kill
he
him.
understood?
I
don't
think
know.
I got the impression he did on look on his face.
Because he did act kind of. He didn't intercede.
Right.
Whereas he's normally kind of a booty head. And
I just
probably
felt like
would-
he was upset.
It's
he didn't get it.
possible. Yeah.
No, I kind of figured I read it as he figured it out, and he's like,
Well, the brother figured it out too, right? In the beginning, clearly, the brother knew too.
oh, because of what he said. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then that's why he said, "Take me with you," and he's like, he knew what was going on. He knew.
I will say,
happen.
I did like. I think it was we had like a lot of the masks that were like based on different things, but I did love the Three Stooges masks.
That's good.
I thought that was
so
I think if I was doing the run, I probably would wear like a Three Stooges mask.
You'd be wearing the curly.
But then the curly one just pass out. Then you just like fall over and pass out when the thing shows up.
Yeah.
Oh man. Dave, real quick, before we get into the final, I just want you to comment about special effects.
I like that, especially the more practical stuff. David Slade does blood great. He really does. He's great at the blood stuff. I thought some of the one scene where you're with Sawtooth Jack, I can't remember exactly what's going on, but he like walks into like a building or a room and he's like looking around at the walls and stuff. It looked like a video game. I was like, oh my God, that is so. I mean, it's beautiful. Again, beautiful, but it just did not look real.
But he set it all on fire, and it just it was good.
Yeah, but it just looked so computerized and fake. It looked like a video game. I've been playing Dead by Daylight or whatever the frick that is since I got a PlayStation 5. I was like, oh, that should be in Dead by Daylight. It looks like it's seen out of Dead by Daylight. I mean, that took me out of the movie a little bit. I would have rather had seen at least a little bit of practical, especially when the practical Sawtooth Jack looked as good as it looked.
I loved it when he lit up a bit. When the more he
it looked good. It just kind of took me out of the thing. It was really really stood out to me. But I loved the blood stuff was great. Very 30 Days of Night-ish, with the arterial spray and and all that stuff. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it wasn't over prevalent. I mean, but when it
happened, but it was just just watching it go, yeah.
It was like all of a sudden.
Well,
let's
come on. The bunker, which is one of my favorite
Yeah.
scenes. That's very Grindhouse. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was fun.
But
That was
I
fun.
loved it. Okay, it's
Absolutely
one of my
loved it.
favorite scenes.
Yeah,
because all it is like
it's the best scene. Whoever going to go first is going to choose it, and it's the best scene.
It is the best thing. All right, well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's wrap this up. Let's give our score 1 to 5 on our favorite scene. And Christopher G. Mohr, sir, you are up first.
Oh,
Look at
it. Now I challenge him. You can't choose that one. He's got to choose another one.
Interesting.
That's a mind that percolates right there.
I'm not sure what to give this to rating for this. You know what? I'll give it a 3.25.
Ah, okay.
And that's primarily for the visuals, but parts of it still frustrate me. As for favorite scene, I actually there's a scene where the the villain cuts the guy's head off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's still talking.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
I love that gore
Richie,
effect.
what's going on?
yeah, which was very. It felt like I don't think it was full CGI, but it felt part practical, part CGI, but it was very effective. Although I'm not sure if your brain got cut off, you'd still be able to elicit any kind of phrasing. But I did like the visuals where he just like turned on the camera like this. What happened? But I think that whole scene, I think it might be the same scene where somebody gets cut in half, but yeah, I think that specific practical effect scene I thought was really kind of cool.
Yeah, it was shocking too, the way they did it.
Yeah, because he just went, especially when you have these characters that are just like, man, these kids are getting knocked out left and right. Too bad Santos isn't around to watch this.
The other kid just took off. Said, "Nope, I'm going that way."
Yeah, that would be me. I'd be like, see ya.
Crystal, what is your score and favorite scene?
Okay, I'm gonna give this a 3.75.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Did you notice that too? They were like the Bradbury Bears. I thought that was cute. I like those varsity.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah. So obviously, I already told you my favorite scene was the bunker bloodbath. I thought it was hilarious. Like all those little wimps in that, like they thought that was going to keep them safe. They got.
Well, what if they hadn't?
I was going to say that asshole would have been knocking on the door, and
if they hadn't opened it up for him.
Yeah.
And then one of them was like, I don't believe in this stuff early on. What you get for not believing, bud.
But it was shot so well. That scene,
yeah.
The whole reveal when they open the door to him just kind of floating down the steps. You just get, he looks like he's floating down the steps into it and in the shower. It's just amazing.
The little kid going.
The kid in the window. I love the kid in the window because it related to
look behind you. Look behind you.
Yeah, but his expression was kind of stupid.
Well, it had to be. Oh, yeah. I mean, I get it because it was so far off in the shot, but it related to the story they had earlier. So I like that.
Yeah, because the one dude, actually, the dude that actually got there actually was the one that had looked out the window. So
I didn't like his little monologue about that.
Well, it paid off. Right? It was what do they call Chekhov's guy and the kid in the window. All right, that's weird. Dave, how you doing, Dave?
I'm good.
What is your score and favorite scene?
I'm going to agree with Crystal on this one. It's a 3.75. I had fun with this. I can actually see myself watching this like every hunt season. It's kind of a trick or treat kind of film,
Yeah,
I can see myself kind of watching it. It's definitely flawed, and it's likely not top 10 material. But damn, if I didn't have a good time watching it. So that's where it's at. And the bunker scene is the best scene. I'm sorry, but it is. I didn't even have another one picked because I was going to say the bunker scene, even if all four of us said the bunker scene, because the bunker scene's the best.
It is
because it's hilarious. Yep.
It is absolutely. I'm going to give it a 3.75 too. That's what I was going. I was like, oh my gosh, we're all giving it the same. It's flawed, but it's definitely. I want to watch it again. I'm going to wait when it is streaming again. I'm going to watch it again. I had a great time with it. I'm kind of with Christopher, a little frustrated with some of it, but in the end, the creature won. They really should be selling it on that creature. That creature looks so cool. I'm one to go with that as well. Because the two most shocking scenes are those two scenes, the cornfield, and then later in the when he's going down into the bunker. But then there's just like all these crazy havoc scenes where he's they're running around and then the kids are acting crazy. And there's one scene, it's not my favorite scene, but since we've mentioned the ones, there's one scene where this guy's like trying to protect his meat shop, the butcher shop.
Oh yeah.
And
those kids went nuts.
They went absolutely nuts, but he does not hold back. He shoots a couple.
He
I mean,
shoots
there's
that
like
kid's head off.
there's like one off, and then the other one
like
gets
damn.
the other one gets his arm cut
Just
off.
swing
right?
him maybe, but
And he goes, "My dad's gonna kill me." It's like funny. But yeah, I'm just gonna bring that just because it was so outrageously out there from the rest of the story. But
Well, I was shocked that more people didn't loot. Like, you know, I mean,
yeah.
well, I was thinking that at the very beginning. It's like if I'm that
Mhm.
hungry, I'll probably just break in somewhere to get
Yep.
something.
I want a
But then-
sandwich.
But then
because
I was
the
like,
one guy throws, then the one guy throw a donut at him, and they all go, "Ah, donut."
They're hungry.
but then I was like, evidently it must not mean anything to be hungry because the one kid ate something, so he still ended up shooting him. So it's like, why are they? They're just causing more havoc by just starving these poor kids.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, and I did like the ending when he said, "Burn it down."
I almost picked that as my favorite scene because that was
Mhm.
actually that's one of my favorite moments because like I kind of wish the movie had started here.
It
Yeah.
could have.
Because
That
I
could
just
have been
want
the
to see his
final act, right?
revenge.
That could have been the final act easily.
Yeah, so if they
Right.
make a sequel from that point on, I'm game. I'm more interested in seeing that than watching this movie again.
Well, I like Jeremy Davies in this. You know, he usually plays like a very awkward scientist, but here he's playing a dad, and I thought his performance was really strong as the father.
It's
Like
still
him.
awkward.
The mother was weird,
Yeah.
but she usually is.
Yeah.
She's a strange
Mhm.
actress. I like her, but she's a strange
I do
actress.
too.
Yeah, this definitely
Mhm.
felt a little David Lynchian with the characters.
They were so off, weren't? And then the sheriff was such a. It's like
such an asshole.
I
He's a
know.
hard ass,
Like,
yeah.
Get back in there.
Jeez,
dude. Take some medicine.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's our review of Dark Harvest. Check it out when you can, and when you do, please leave some comments down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the movie, or the book if you've read the book. Dave, right? You want to
Read the book.
share those thoughts?
Read
Yeah.
the book.
All right, Crystal, Christopher, Dave, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
Paul.
Fun.
Yes.
All right. With that, let's say good night.
Good
Night.
night.
Ah!
Gruesome Magazine.